Knowledge is achieving some degree of sattva to know that I am ever pure Atma. It is achieving some degree of sattva so that I can come to know that I am this Atma which is ever pure. I can't actually be touched by anything. I can't be contaminated by anything. I can't be, affected by anything. But yet I feel like that because of the proximity of the upadhis, just like the cloth is proximate to the crystal. So panchakoshadi yogena tat-tat-maya iva stitaha. Feels like that becomes me. Shuddhatma, but I am Shuddhatma. And this example is like the crystal and the cloth. Now as a sadhana, what do you and I have to do is we have to try and identify what kosha is it that we are most strongly identified with. We have to see which level are we at. We will shuffle every now and then, of course, but where is our strongest kosha identification? Where is that? And that's what we have to hit at the seat of contemplation. Where am I identifying with most? If I have this idea, then I know where to work. I know what to do. So as a seeker, that should be my sadhana. Okay? Okay.
Why would identification with Anandamaya Kosha be not good or correct?
Because it is still in the field of Ajnana, right? You see, I'll tell you. Anandamaya Kosha. What is Anandamaya Kosha? Okay? Anandamaya Kosha has two aspects. In deep sleep state, it is that abhava vritti, that's very subtle thought of, like there's nothing going on there. I know nothing. That kind of thought, I know nothing, is going on there. Okay? So when we wake up, that's the time only we realize that I was in bliss. Or in waking state, Anandamaya Kosha is experienced when we have these three expressions, Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. If you remember what we talked about, right? Priya, when you see something in front of you you like. Then Moda, when you're about to hold it. And Pramoda is when you're about to take it in, like a laddu. Now what happens is, in this Anandamaya Kosha, we get a subtle experience of joy, which is like that very subtle vritti where I forget myself. You completely lose yourself. Like when you eat something you really love, you lose yourself. Or when you sing a song you really love, you lose yourself. Or when you are just on a high, you lose yourself. Now, what's wrong with that is because I'm seeing something else as an object of happiness. I'm still saying that that will make me happy and I want that so I can lose myself. So the minute I say I need that to make me happy, or I'm relying on something external to make me happy, that means I'm denying the fact that I am happiness. Why do I need all of this to be happy? I'm denying that very fact.
Even if it's a spiritual high.
Even if it's a see, for a seeker, these highs are very important. To have a spiritual high when you sing a bhajan and everything, that's beautiful. But it should not be that I become dependent on it. So even in Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, it will say that sattva also binds, right? Sattva also binds. Why? Because of sukha. What happens with sattvic people is they like everything to be sattvic. And if it's not sattvic, they go crazy. Because they're deriving their happiness from sattva. They're deriving their happiness from a meditative environment, from a peaceful environment, from nice music. They're deriving their happiness from this, which is good in the beginning stage. But later on, I have to realize that that happiness is me. So even if I don't get that, I'm okay. So in that way, Anandamaya Kosha can still be a bondage because I'm relying on something external to make me feel that way. We want to understand that our nature is happiness, not that something is going to make me happy. So in that way, that's also not okay. So now we will cover one more verse. Verse number 16 now says, okay, now that we know what this all is, what should we do? What should be the sadhana for a seeker? What should be my sadhana? You are telling me, this is the problem. I am identifying with the 5 sheets, and because of proximity, I take them to be me, but actually it can't be me. What is my sadhana? So verse 16. Vapustu shadibhi koshaihi yuktam yuktyaavaghatataha Atmanamantaram shuddham Vivichya tandulam yatha Vapustu shadibhi koshaihi yuktam yuktyaavaghatataha Atmanamantaram shuddham Vivichya tandulam yatha. So here it says, what is the sadhana? It says like this. Yatha, just as tandulam. Tandulam means rice. Vivichyat, just as one should differentiate rice. Rice from the first word, vapustu shadibihi. So you take the word tusha. Tusha means husk, etc. So just as one should differentiate rice from husk, then the same way, vapuhu koshehi yuktam vivichyat. The same way, the body should be differentiated from the koshas, from the 5 koshas. How, can you tell me exactly how to do this differentiation? Yuktya avaghatataha means yuktya. Yuktya means through logic, through reasoning. Avaghatataha, pound it through reasoning. And you'll see Atmanam Antaram Shuddham. You'll see that self which is Shuddham, which is pure, which is Antaram, which is our innermost self. So, one should separate Tandulam from Tusha, rice from husk. Just like one should separate Atma from Vapuhu, Atma from the bodies, etc., the koshas, through logic, through bounding. So, the beauty of Adi Shankaracharya is he was so observant. Imagine in every single example, he's like, how is that related to Atma? Imagine if our lives were like that and we were able to relate everything to Atma. How pure it would be. So, back in the day, now I don't know, I had to YouTube this and watch it. Because it was obviously not when I grew up, it was a rice cooker. So, from what I watched on YouTube, I don't know how accurate this is, but they used to take, first of all, it takes like 6 months to plant this paddy, right? And then they cut the crops, and then they have to pound it, right? The mortar and pestle, they have to pound it. And then after they pound it, they have to use the winnow. They have to do that, right? And then after that, again, they have to de-husk and separate the rice from the husk. They have to do all of these processes just to separate the rice from the And so, Adi Shankaracharya must have been thinking, wow, it's a lot of work, right? Because first of all, 6 months. I mean, and if you think about it, 1 grain of rice that we waste, 6 months it took to prepare that paddy. Yeah, so it was just like, wow. So that really blew my mind. But now coming to Atma and Anatma, what should we do is we should pound it, we should sift it, we should separate it through logic. We can't physically separate Atma and Anatma like that. But physically through logic is what we really mean to say here. How do you do that? How do we separate through logic? Take each kosha and say, why I can't be that? Take each sheath. Take each Annamaya kosha. Take Annamaya kosha. Why can't I be the body? And clearly put into logic, why can't I be the body? Because it's impermanent. It's changing. It's made up of food. Atma is definitely not made up of food. Right? Take each one. Why can't I be Pranamaya kosha? Why? Because it's Vayu Vikara. You breathe air in, you breathe it out, it gets modified. The same air that I'm breathing, the same air that you're breathing. Isn't it? It gets modified, it goes in and out, it travels everywhere. It's a vikara. And it is, why can't I be pranamaya kosha? Because pranamaya kosha is inert. It doesn't know anything. We may feel like prana is great, but prana doesn't know my thoughts. Or why can't I be manomaya kosha? Why? Why can't I be all these thoughts? So which thought am I then? If every day we think about 60,000 thoughts, which thought am I?
Also thoughts were there before you were born. And those thoughts will be there after you die. So you can't be that.
You can't be that. And thoughts come and go. They come and go, and deep sleep, there's no thought. Yes, and in samadhi there is no thought also. So how can I be that? Manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, same thing, there is no thought. There's no thought in deep sleep, there's no thought in samadhi, it keeps changing every time. How can I be that? And how can I be anandamaya kosha? How can I be that kind of bliss which has gradation? How can I be that kind of experience of bliss where sometimes I'm very, very happy, sometimes I'm not happy, sometimes I'm very happy, sometimes I'm not happy. The nature of Atma is pure bliss without any gradation. That's the nature of Atma. So with this logic, I have to keep pounding. After listening in Shravanam, I have to keep reflecting in Mananam and saying, why can't I be these things? And it has to be so clear. It has to be so clear like water in your palm that I can't be these things. And then when it's clear through Mananam, then one should contemplate on it through Nididhyasana. Sit quietly and contemplate on it. And then my Atma, Anatma Viveka will be complete. Otherwise I won't know what to do. I won't be able to separate myself from the not-self. Otherwise I'll be confused. I'll be like, yeah, I heard this, but I'm not sure. Really, how is it possible? So constantly separating the two is what we have to do. And just like it took rice about 6 months to grow, to prepare, the mind has to be prepared thoroughly for this to, Atma and Atma Viveka to take place. It means there's to be a lot of purity in the mind. No, somebody who's so interested in what's going on in the world will not sit down and do Atma and Atma Viveka. They're going to be like, no way, peace out, I'm going to do something else. The mind has to be purified to a great extent to come to even this aspect and want to separate the self from the not-self. This becomes my sadhana. I am not this, not this, not this. Constantly, again and again and again. So this is the avaghatata, this is the pounding I have to do. Just like rice from husk, all of the koshas from Atma, keep separating it and understanding that it's not affecting me and it's not who I am. So today we will complete this verse. I will summarize a little bit and then I'll give you some questions to ponder over. So today we saw now Karana Sharira, the third body, right? A whole elaboration on what is ignorance. What is ignorance? Why is it called ignorance? From when did it become beginningless? Why is it inexplicable? And what are the 7 levels of ignorance? How deeply rooted it is. Then after that we saw that Atma is like, it is like this pure crystal, wherein that these 5 koshas, because of their proximity, as though throw their color on Atma, but Atma can never be colored. Just like the cloth near the crystal can never color it. Panchakoshas can never color or taint the self from Atma. The problem is when I mix up the two. So what should my sadhana be as a seeker? Vivichyaat, separated. How? Avaghatata, through bounding. What kind of bounding? Yuktya, logic. And the logic, we can give the logic, but it has to become your own logic. Shastra can give the logic, so many texts will do it, but you have to feel that logic. Otherwise then it won't make sense to you. Do you remember in AtmaBodha what was the logic? Logic in AtmaBodha was Madhyam Shariram. That which we call mine, it cannot be I. When we say my body, how can it be I? When we say my mind, how can it be I?